What if I told you that one of the biggest stories in American history wasn't hidden by criminals? It was hidden by the government itself. Not for days, not for months, but for decades. Millions of classified pages, thousands of secret operations, and decisions that changed the course of history, all locked behind one word: classified. For generations, Americans were told they knew their country's story. But every few years, another sealed file is opened. Another secret is revealed. Another chapter of history changes forever. Some documents exposed illegal surveillance of ordinary citizens. Others uncovered secret military operations the public never knew existed. And some revealed government decisions that even members of Congress didn't fully understand at the time. The most unsettling part? Many of these revelations weren't conspiracy theories. They came directly from declassified government records. So tonight, we're opening the files, separating fact from fiction, following the evidence wherever it leads. Because hidden somewhere inside America's archives may be the biggest cover-up in its history. And once you see it, you'll never look at American history the same way again. Every nation keeps secrets, military strategies, intelligence operations, diplomatic negotiations. Those are expected. But after World War II, the United States entered a new era, one unlike anything it had faced before. The Cold War transformed the way America operated. Fear of nuclear conflict with the Soviet Union pushed the government to build an enormous intelligence network. New agencies expanded their powers, secret military programs multiplied, and millions of documents were stamped confidential, secret, or top secret. Officials argued that this level of secrecy was essential to protect national security. In many cases, they were right. Revealing military plans or exposing intelligence sources could have endangered lives and compromised ongoing operations. But over time, something unexpected happened. As the decades passed, many of those classified records remained locked away long after the immediate threats had disappeared. When journalists, historians, and researchers finally gained access to some of these files through declassification and public records requests, they discovered that not every hidden document was protecting national security. Some revealed controversial government decisions. Some exposed operations the public had never been told about. Others showed how information had been deliberately withheld from ordinary Americans during critical moments in history. These weren't rumors pulled from the internet. They were real government records, released years, or sometimes decades, after the events had taken place. That raised a difficult question. If history could change every time another classified file was opened, how much of the story was still missing? Today, millions of government records remain classified for a variety of reasons, including national security, intelligence methods, and diplomatic concerns. Most may never contain dramatic revelations. But history has already proven one thing. Sometimes the biggest surprises aren't found in old newspapers. They're discovered inside files that the public was never supposed to read. And one of those files would eventually become the center of one of the most debated chapters in American history. For years, many Americans believed that if something important had happened, the government would eventually tell the whole story. History proved otherwise. Beginning in the 1970s, investigators, journalists, and historians started pushing for access to long-classified records. Court cases, congressional inquiries, and public records requests forced thousands of documents into the open. What those files revealed surprised the nation. Some confirmed that intelligence agencies had carried out secret surveillance programs against American citizens and political activists during periods of intense national tension. Others showed that covert operations had been conducted overseas without the public fully understanding their scale or purpose. In several cases, officials had publicly minimized or denied activities that were later confirmed by declassified records. These disclosures didn't prove that every conspiracy theory was true. Far from it. Many sensational claims collapsed when the evidence was examined. But they did reveal something equally important. Governments can make mistakes. Governments can keep controversial actions secret. And sometimes, those secrets remain hidden for decades before the historical record is corrected. Each newly released document changed the way historians viewed America's past. A speech could be reinterpreted. A military decision could look different. A political crisis could take on an entirely new meaning once the missing pieces were added. That is why historians often say history is never completely finished. It evolves as new evidence becomes available. Yet one question continues to linger. If so many significant events only became public years later, what important records are still locked away today? Some remain classified for legitimate national security reasons. Others are scheduled for future review. And a few have become the subject of intense public debate, with researchers arguing over whether they should finally be released. Because sometimes, the most revealing chapter of history isn't the one you've already read. It's the one that's still waiting behind a locked government archive. As more classified records became public, a clear pattern began to emerge. Some of the most controversial chapters in American history weren't completely understood until decades after they happened. One example was the release of documents related to the Pentagon Papers. They revealed that multiple administrations had privately expressed doubts about the Vietnam War while presenting a far more optimistic picture to the American public. The documents didn't expose a single secret operation, they exposed how information itself could shape public opinion. Years later, additional records about intelligence activities revealed that federal agencies had conducted extensive surveillance during periods of political unrest. Officials argued these actions were necessary to protect national security, while critics believed they crossed constitutional boundaries. These revelations sparked a difficult national debate. Where should the line be drawn between protecting a country and protecting the public's right to know? The answer has never been simple. Every government keeps classified information. Without secrecy, intelligence operations, military missions, and diplomatic negotiations could quickly fail. But history also shows that excessive secrecy can weaken public trust. When important facts remain hidden for too long, people begin asking difficult questions. What else hasn't been revealed? What decisions were made behind closed doors? And who decides when the public finally deserves the truth? Even today, researchers continue filing requests for documents that remain sealed. Some records are released after careful review. Others stay classified because officials argue they still contain sensitive information. The debate continues with every generation. Because history isn't only written by the people who lived it. Sometimes, it's rewritten by the documents that were hidden for decades. And in our final chapter, we'll examine why millions of pages are still classified today, and whether America will ever know the complete story behind its most closely guarded secrets. Today, the United States still holds millions of classified records. Some protect intelligence sources. Some contain military information. Others involve sensitive diplomatic communications that officials believe could still affect national security if released. Many of those decisions are understandable. Every nation has information that cannot be made public immediately. But history has also taught another lesson. Classified does not always mean forever. Again and again, documents once considered too dangerous to release have eventually become public. And when they did, they reshaped the way historians understood the past. Events that once seemed straightforward suddenly became more complicated. Government decisions gained new context. Old debates were reopened. And long-forgotten questions found unexpected answers. That is why historians continue searching through archives, requesting records, and studying newly declassified files. Not because they expect every document to reveal a shocking conspiracy, but because every newly released page brings history a little closer to the truth. Perhaps the greatest lesson isn't that governments keep secrets. We have always known they do. The real lesson is that history is never completely finished. It grows with every new piece of evidence. Every declassified report. Every forgotten memo. Every file that finally sees the light of day. So, was there a single biggest cover-up in American history? The honest answer is more complex than any headline. History shows that there have been many important secrets, some justified, some controversial, and some that continue to be debated by historians today. The responsibility is not simply to believe every claim, or to dismiss every question. It is to examine the evidence, to separate fact from speculation, and to keep asking questions, because the search for truth never truly ends. After everything you've heard today, what do you think is the biggest secret in American history that still hasn't been fully explained? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to ORYX for more stories hidden between the pages of history.